The following is a presentation of the iRacing Esports Network.
So what are you afraid of? Those feelings are made up. For anyone asking who is the best, we putting our hands up.
4 more kilometers.
Oh, there we go! This time, like the last time, I'm moving so fast, I'm ready to ride.
Wonky! Down to the inside of Hookie's off!
Passenger throws the block, and he will keep him behind him.
My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Lower the lights down. Hand over my crown. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop. Turning the track up. I'll never go back down. Hand over my heart. I do this for my town. I do this for my crowd. So turn me up real loud. My time. None of you people can tell me to stop.
Here's to hugging corners, not cutting them. To grinding away, not grinding to a halt. Here's to those who stay true to the old saying. If you want something done right, you do it yourself. From Tallboy Storage to the latest line of extreme grip hand tools, Craftsman is there when it matters.
We are getting deep into the world of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series, and as we get deep into the schedule, we go deep into the south to Volusia Speedway Park for the first trip for the sprint cars to this home track for the World of Outlaw Series in Volusia, Florida. Randy Chinnett, Cam Walsh, Hugo Louis bringing you all the action for the 8th round of this series, and the championship situation has been heating up. Tim Ryan still leads the way with 452 points scored thus far this season and 3 wins, making him the winningest driver thus far. And Alex Bergeron sits second in the points, just 1 win back and 15 points off the Australian who currently leads the way. And James Edens about 49 points off of Tim Ryan. Those 3 are your championship contenders, Cam, as Mr. David Heileman in 4th, nearly a full 100 points off that championship leader of Tim Ryan, unless Tim, Alex, and James are absolutely uncompetitive to the end of the season. Also, Chris Brenner tied with David Heileman for 4th in the points. Unless those top 3 are terrible to the end of the season, I don't think there's any way David or Chris can ever hope to scratch out a championship here this year.
It seems that there's been a pretty hefty breakaway, and understandable here. I mean, Tim Ryan, Bergeron, Edens has gotten himself a good finishes. He's picked them up when he's can, but we do know anything can happen. You've got heat races, you've got the last chance qualifier. One bad day can keep you directly out of the points, and that, of course, is not what we want to see here, as we love having the good fighting up top for the championship qualifying underway, Randy, and no surprise, everyone is within a hair's breadth of each other.
Yep, times are looking close at the moment. We'll take another look at that when we get a little bit deeper into it. But you talk about the fact that anything can happen in this series, Cam, not only in the races, but you have to look at the whole schedule as a whole. And we have what really is a big lineup of some of the sketchiest tracks for these guys in the sprint cars that they've tended to struggle with in terms of consistency and logging clean races. We have Volusia not only tonight, but as the penultimate round of the championship on October 9th. We have Limaland coming in 2 weeks' time on the 11th of September. Williams Grove 2 weeks after that. And the season finale, as it is in real life, will be at the dirt track at Charlotte, which the one time we've seen it in the season thus far was a bit of a, let's say, a little bit crazy with the amount of cautions and the way racing went. This is really for the tail end of this championship. If you're one of those championship contenders, you need to be really hoping and counting your lucky stripes that you qualify up near the front, can stay away from a lot of the trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And sometimes, no matter what, the trouble follows you. And we talk about these tracks. At best, the best descriptor I can come is with you put your hand in front of you, you keep it level, and then you do the little wiggly thing. That's about it. We saw last week, Randy, the late model drivers, they decided to try to show up the sprint car guys by doing a feature race without a single caution. Well, there's 20 less laps in the feature, Randy. Do you think they could do it here?
Well, they haven't been able to come anywhere close pretty much all season. I think 2 yellows is the least we've had. So it's very unlikely, especially here at Volusia Cam, which we've seen in the sprint cars just historically on the iRacing service. You know, think back to what we've seen on the likes of Dirt Night. It's not a track a lot of the sprint car drivers generally get along with. That said, qualifying has come to a close. Heat races are starting to get sorted out, and once again, it's going to be a 3 heat race show. So the top 4 from each heat will go directly to the feature event, and then it'll be 8 drivers from the last chance qualifier who punch their ticket to the feature. Let's go down, though, the starting grid for heat race number 1 right here, right now. And your pole sitter on the evening is that 12 car of Alex Bergeron. Puts in quick time over everyone. Phil Diaz has a very good evening here tonight, qualifying 4th quickest. and second for this heat race. David Heilemann starts third with Austin Sellman in fourth. Adam Elby and Howard Weaver start on row number 3 of this heat. Michael Sheridan and Brenton Roxbury on row 4, and Dan Smulders rounds out the 9-car field here in this one. So we have 1 9-car heat and 2 8-car heats. So this is going to be a pretty jam-packed opening heat race, Cam, with so many cars starting here, fighting for those top 4 spots, especially with names like Elby, Weaver, Roxbury, Smulders, and Sheridan, who are starting outside of the bubble here.
Yeah, most definitely. And normally we always see that last heat. Typically, that's the one that always has the star-studded names. You know, your big, the big risk, I like to call it, because you got a lot of drivers here who want to drive very fast. This is a points race. We have to remember the heats are a points race. The last chance qualifier is not, and then obviously the finale is the finale as the cars are out and about. And Randy, I just gotta say, you know, these guys, I wonder if they're going to perhaps be patient like they should be.
Well, we've typically seen the heat races are relatively clean. We might see an incident or two, but we'll have to wait and see on this Monday evening as these guys get the one-to-go signal from the iRacing starter stand. I just have to say thank you to all of you joining us tonight on the iRacing Esports Network or on DirtVision.com, making us a part of your Monday evening for the World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series. It's going to be a thriller in one way or another, I feel, either with awesome racing or some cars going tumbling just a little bit. But as the field works their way down the back straightaway, David Heilemann taking a peek under the inside of that 12 car of Alex Bergeron, maybe trying to time it. Phil Diaz probably thinking, what am I doing this far up in the timing sheets after qualifying? I'm not a sprint car guy, really. But with that, the iRacing safety truck ducks to the safety of pit road, and Alex Bergeron's going to get on a green flag for 8 laps in heat race number 1, and Alex Bergeron is already clearing away. Diaz up to the top with Heilemann beneath him, 21 car behind. Michael Sheridan gets a little bit of a checkup, and he finds the 211 of Dan Smulders, so trouble in the opening lap.
Yeah, these guys, they basically tried to take the low line as a big popping wheelie from the 21 car. Michael Sheridan, he's gotten himself around, but he's not going to have a chance to make the feature here because the front line's doing all great. Yeah, you tried to get rid of that inside line. They ended up hitting that concrete barrier. That'll reach out and touch you if you really try to do that inside line. And Randy, we're probably going to see that inside line come into effect here because the track really isn't as wide as you'd like to think, even though it's got a pretty hefty cushion. You saw a big old slider from Howard Weaver on Austin Sellman as these guys are fighting right now for that transfer position. I do worry that as the track wears in, there goes Weaver on the inside again, that the outside line is going to become untenable at some point.
BLR teammates duking it out for the bubble spot. Weaver definitely a late model specialist. Austin would definitely say that he's better in the sprint cars. Austin tries to throw another one but has to lift way out of it. That gives Weaver a number of car lengths working lap number 5 of 8. The 74 of Adam Elby is going to try to slot at the inside of Austin, but not quite able to do so. So 3 to go as they get to the starter stand here. Phil Diaz and David Heilemann are close, but because they're already comfortably in a transfer spot, I don't think they're going to fight for it too hard. David tests out the low line though and actually gets a good run up off the corner. Going to keep it pinned down to the bottom in towards 1 and 2. Going to slide up in front of that 9 NX car, and Phil Diaz just has to lift out of it. Going to try to slide her though once again in 3 and 4. Phil can't quite get the job done. So coming to the white flag, it's Alex Bergeron clearing the VLR machine. VLR in second with David Heilemann, NX third, and VLR fourth and fifth with Weaver and Sellman. Down the back straightaway and in towards 3 and 4 for the final time. Austin's going to try the Hail Mary, not nearly close enough, but Bergeron will win heat race number 1, and Heilemann, Diaz, and Weaver will round out your top 4 transfer spots. Good pace shown from the 07 in that opening round, Cam.
The track is open for business here, and that's quite a surprise. Normally when we come to a racetrack here, heat number 1 kind of is the one opening up the can. You know, you get a pretty single straight line race, and no, these guys were already throwing sliders. And I'm kind of surprised. It looked like a Heat 3, maybe the consolation race, but it kind of makes me a little concerned now. Looking forward at how much track are they going to have left by the time they get to the feature?
I have to wait and see. Volusia, of course, one of the interesting tracks that has a shelf as you go up to the top, so it flattens out the higher you actually go up that banking in the corners. Sort of reverse progressive banking for those who are used to the NASCAR side of things. That's that heat race number 2, gridded and rolling. Let's go down your starting grid. Dylan Sullivan putting the second quickest time on the evening at a 13.284. The 283 that took pole, so just a thousand between Dylan and Alex. James Eden's on the outside of that front row. Robert Kurtstetter and Ryan Pace make up row 2. Chase Cabre and Bradley Cash on row number 3, and Justin Thomas and Matt McKinney on row 4, and the 51 machine in the traditional McKinney starting spot at the back of the field. And that's not necessarily a shot at them because they've been very successful coming from the back of the field.
Yeah, I mean, let's be real here, and honestly, with the way that they've been throwing sliders, hey, you get somebody that put that left front wheel into that inside barrier, you can make up positions real quick.
So they roll through 1 and 2. VLR once again starting out front. Also have third base bar and grill starting on the outside of that front row. So VLR definitely seems to be hooked up here this evening. A lot of cars rolling through towards the front of the qualifying and in the front of the heat. So they roll down the back straightaway. Dylan Silverman, not a driver we've seen a ton of thus far this season, but he's shown good pace when he decides to turn up, and putting it second quickest, the thousandth of a second off pole, means he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. Dylan in command of the field, gets on it, going to be a couple car lengths ahead. They're going to be 3 wide, I believe, for third. Who is that? Chase Cabre jumped the start just a little bit and had to wisely get out of it, otherwise he'd have been on, I think, for a black flag for passing before the stripe, but we're clear here. Top 4 all get themselves single file, but they are 2 by 2 behind. The 44 Ryan Pace wants to fight for that transfer spot for Cabre, but he's going to attack for third as the 27 gets it right back underneath them. Robert Kerstetter, one of the best field-to-wheel racers in the series, holds on to that 4th spot.
Yeah, an amazing pole shot from Dylan Selman also, and James Edens, he's not letting it go. Lap times are going to James Edens, but will he be able to catch as the action's still picking up here? Chase Cabre's doing the dance. There's Bradley Cash. He finds Matt McKinney. They're not going to end up having a good recovery as they are going to have to make it up in the last chance qualifier, which means that it is now just going to be the battle between basically Ryan Pace and Chase Cabre. And I got to say, these two guys are probably going to have it out at some point. But Randy, I got to say here, the track, these guys, they at least seem to be keeping themselves up to the top.
They definitely are. These guys have moved up just a little bit. Not as much side-by-side as we saw in Heat 1. That incident and we saw between Cash and McKinney. Justin Thomas and Cash were the two that initially sort of made contact. Thomas just sort of wrong place, wrong time. Cash had to check up. Thomas was right behind him. Really had nowhere to go or no time to react. So your top 4 as they're coming 2 to go is Selman, Edens, Kerstetter, and Pace. And those top 4 started those top 4 spots. Chase Cabre wants that position though. And he throws a bit of a preemptive slider on the 44 Ryan Pace. He is close as they get in towards 3 and 4. That 4 car pins it down to the bottom groove. That's going to give up a little bit of time. I think Chase being a little bit over aggressive too early here. Through 1 and 2 now for the final time. Cabre is going to give up a lot of pace as they head in towards 3 and 4. Not going to be nearly close enough is Cabre. The 3 machine of Dylan Silverman though will win heat race number 2 with Edens, Kerstetter, and Pace cycling into the top 4 behind, with Thomas, Cash, and McKinney rounding out the 8 car field. I have to say, Cam, I think Chase Cabre had a chance at getting that transfer spot. He just had to be a little bit more patient in the start, and instead of starting to throw those moves with 2 laps to go, I think if he waits through turns 3 and 4 and just closes in the gap, he can very much throw a slider in towards 1 and 2 on the final lap.
Yeah, most certainly, and I gotta say, I mean, gotta hand it out to Dylan Selman. I know we always kind of point out it's simple to win the heat races in a way, but his last lap was the fastest, and that was like a 13.3, so that was lightning quick here around this Volusia Speedway Park here at Barberville. But I gotta say, the track seems to be kind of going a little bit up to the high side. I'm worried, perhaps. Not worried. Nothing worries me here, but the show is, at some point, is going to have to come to that inside line, which is going to concern me because when you start getting to the restarts, well, there is that tire barrier, that ever legendary tire barrier that we've had such a great time with just on the exit of quarter number 4.
Well, you are going to be a father shortly, Cam, so that's going to make for sure that everything worries you. But you're having a boy on that extent, so as a father, not going to worry nearly as much. With that said, heat number 3 is now rolling off, and let's take a look at your starting grid. Championship points leader puts it 3rd quickest. He starts on the pole for heat race number 3 with Cameron Dance on the outside. It's an all-Aussie front row here in heat race number 3. Weston Newell and Chris Brenner make up row 2 with AJ Neben and Anthony Lepresto on that 3rd row, with Rusty Kruger and Nick Cooper rounding out the tail end of this one. Chris Brenner, he's one, Cam, that I think with his situation in the points right now, he needs to come away with a strong victory in this heat, not just to start well in the main, but he needs to get as many points as he can to try to close that gap, because it's going to be a miracle for him to have any hope of reeling in that gap to Bergeron and Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, if you're in that position, you hope that maybe perhaps something happens to Tim Ryan in the heat, and then he's got to go to the last chance qualifier, but I just don't see that happening. The whole shot's been too good for that starting position here in these heats.
Definitely is. The starting position of being able to control the field is 100% a huge advantage to have. Tim Ryan on the pole position here on the iRacing Esports Network. Be sure to subscribe for more action just like this. He's going to get ready to go here and go now. Does Tim Ryan? He's going to run away with the big hole shot. Not a great reaction from the rest of the field. The triple two machine of Weston Newell is going to try to take that second spot away from Cam Dance, but Cam's able to hook it up top and keep the momentum in towards 3 and 4. Triple two machine going to try to slide up in front of Cam Dance, but nowhere near close enough. Big mistake from Weston Newell. He just doors the 6 machine of Cam Dance, and quite frankly, Cam, he just kind of dumped him.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Cam Dance, I don't really know what he could have done there alternatively. He did not get a good start, so I guess you could say if he had gotten a good start. But, yeah, he just got absolutely pushed into that outside wall. There's nothing he can do. The Kiwi is not going to be a happy camper. He's got to have to go all the way to the last chance qualifier. And it looks like he's running second position. He's basically going to be running cover for Tim Ryan, but he's got a long night ahead of him.
Been told I'm in trouble because Cam Dance is not Australian. He is a Kiwi, so I will deal with those consequences at a later date as Brenner slots into second, AJ Neven third, and Weston Newell in fourth. Hopefully Cam keeps his head cool as that triple two machine comes on by on the bottom groove. That's exactly what he's going to do. Thankfully, I don't have to commentate something silly happening here as they roll through 1 and 2, working lap 6 of 8. Field really spread out after that incident. Nick Cooper and Anthony Lepresto are close for 5th and 6th, but of course that's not going to be for a transfer spot, and they're nowhere close to that triple two machine really. They're coming to 2 to go.
Yeah, and Tim Ryan, he's got as clear as you ever want, but that was obviously, there was an incident basically for second and third. So Chris Brenner, he's going to pick up second position. AJ Nevin's doing good, and Weston Newell might be trying something on the outside on AJ Nevin. I'm not sure he's going to get it.
White flag here in heat race number 3, and it's pretty much just going to be getting it logged, done, and complete, because no real important fight, in this one. 98 to Tim Ryan is going to come off and win heat race number 3. Give the outside wall a little bit of a smack on the way through, with Chris Brenner, AJ Neven, and Weston Newell rounding out your top 4 transferees, with Nick Cooper, Anthony Lepresto, and Rusty Kruger rounding out the 7-car field that ends up finishes. And then, of course, Cam Dance did finish, but he did so 1 lap down in P8. So now, last chance qualifier time, Cam, and there's only really 2 drivers, I think, in here that really had bad luck as a result of their heat race, and that's going to be McKinney and Cam Dance. Everyone else had pretty much clean heat races all the way through.
Yeah, I mean, Austin Selman, he obviously came in 5th. He wasn't really in a position to challenge, though he did throw a couple of sliders towards the end of the race. He really wasn't there. Chase Cabre, well, he's also very quick, but again, wasn't there. Again, we're going to have 13 cars here in this consolation race, Randy, and it is only 15 laps, but with how fat that right rear tire is, I did start to notice that some of the cars were actually starting to run that inside rim. And I'm kind of worried if this is going to be the breakaway race where we're going to start seeing that big dynamic where cars dive way down to the inside, they slide up the track in the midway, and then they try to cut the nose going into 3 and 4. And whenever we see that happen, well, we tend to have incidents.
Last chance qualifiers are always prone to be incident filled, as well as people are aggressive wanting to get their way to the feature. Let's go down your starting grid. Austin Selman and Chase Cabre make up that front row, with Nick Cooper and Adam Elby on row number 2. Justin Thomas and Anthony Lepresto on row 3, and Britton Roxbury and Bradley Cash, they are on the bubble row in the top 4. Top 8, fourth row. Top 8, of course, transfer. Rusty Kruger and Dan Smolders on row number 5, Matt McKinney and Cam Dance on row number 6, and Michael Sheridan will be all by himself on that 7th row. I have to say, Cam, for people coming from the back, to 6 of Cam Dance is probably going to be my favorite based on the pace he's shown in qualifying and in those couple laps we saw before he got doored.
Yeah, and I mean, it is a massive mountain to climb. I mean, starting way in the back there, you can always say, well, it's possible, but I just not without those cautions. I don't think it's going to be as Austin someone's going to lead us to the green.
We'll have to wait and see as Austin Selman is going to get on it. One of the Selman brothers won a heat race. The other one didn't transfer to the feature from his. Green flag flies, and Austin, big jump over the rest of the field. Side by side for second between Nick Cooper and Chase Cobrae. They're going to single file it out. Bit of a trouble in the back of the field. Cam Dance involved in this one along with Matthew McKinney. They're going to keep it rolling, though, after a bit of wheel-to-wheel contact as Cam Dance is side by side with Michael Sheridan. This is fighting for ninth, and Dance is going to have the spot as he runs down the back straightaway. So it's a good start here from the Kiwi. Here in 6th, the 21 car going to throw the slider in towards 3 and 4, and Dance drives it right back down to the bottom and down and right past him down the front straightaway.
Yeah, Adam Elby, also the number 74 car. He is basically one of the only cars that's hovering that inside line, going through 1 and 2, 3 and 4. He stays super high as Anthony DePresto tries to run side by side. Britt Rockford, 21. He'll throw to the inside. They'll make some wheel-to-wheel contact as Dance gets a nice little hefty, not a shove per se, but that bubble of presence pushing Cam up the track there. Is that these guys are really starting to slide up and down the track, trying to figure out where they can not only defend their positions but find the grip to get the power down.
Bit of a nightmare situation, I think, for the number 6 machine of Cam Dance. He's definitely quicker than this entire group of cars, but he's got some of the most aggressive names in the championship in front of him. He has to fight with the transfer. Rusty Kruger, Anthony Lepresto, Britton Roxbury, also the likes of LP and Justin Thomas out in front of him that are all in one big pack of cars. So despite the fact that he has the pace cam, it's not going to be an easy thing for that 6 machine of Dance to be able to get through. He's testing that low line.
Yeah, and we did have a pass for the lead from Chase Cobrae on Austin Selman about maybe a lap or two ago, where Austin Selman, he was trying to work that inside line, and basically he got passed on the outside by the number 4 of Chase Cobrae. So, I mean, no concerns. Your top 8's going to the feature. This isn't a points race, so don't worry about it. You know, you're already halfway through, so I guess if you're Austin Selman, maybe a little bit on the pride, but at least you know now on the that inside line isn't in yet. But for everyone else, I mean, it's just really, it's now Cam Dance. He's in 9th. He's got, what do you think that is, 10 car lengths with 5 laps to go? Don't think it's going to happen.
Definitely not looking good. He seems to have just sort of fallen away as the racing line has moved down the racetrack. The 4 of Chase Cobrae is down there. The rest of the field is actually pretty much still up against the wall, so no one else finding speed down there. Selman has found a little bit of pace, though, up top, and has reeled in the 4 of Chase Cobrae about a 10th or so the last couple laps. You also have in 3rd Mick Cooper lurking behind that 18 machine. Cooper's going to try the bottom. The 23 of Thomas will try the bottom, and a number of other drivers all the way back to that 8th spot are going to run the middle as well. So people moving around, testing to see what this racing surface is doing. Cobrae's given up a lot of time the last couple of laps, and he's moved his way back up to the high line. And Selman reeled him in a 10th that last lap, and another further 2 tenths the lap following. So Chase Cobrae out in front, struggling just a little bit with 2 laps and some change to go. And Nick Cooper is going to try the bottom on the 18 of Austin Selman. Wheel to wheel for second. Can't get the momentum off the corner, though. Can't hook up that big fat right rear tire. Cobrae slides through the slick on the exit of 1 and 2. And Selman's going to try to work the top here. Cooper's still working the bottom. Coming to the white.
Yeah, and in Chase Cobrae, perhaps he wants to maybe look at doing a wing adjustment or something like that. Obviously, he's got the distance, he's got the coverage, so no worries there, especially with the pressure in Nick Cooper. So it is going to be Chase Cobrae who's going to finish in 8th.
Let's see, they're going to come down now to finish this one. Cobrae's going to win with Selman and Cooper just close behind. Things did tighten up in the back, but it all stayed pretty much as it was. Justin Thomas ends up in 4th, Adam Elby 5th, Britton Roxbury in 6th, with Lepresto and Kruger rounding out the 8-car transferees. Cam Dance, Michael Sheridan, Bradley Cash, Matt McKinney, and Dan Smulders will be the 5 cars who do not transfer to the feature event this evening. I have to say, Cam, if you're the 6 of Cam Dance, you're probably a little bit upset given what happened to you in your heat race, and then the fact that trying to go from the back of one of those last chance qualifiers and Raceway up there is so difficult.
Oh, it is, and we talk about that lap 1 incident. He really wasn't involved per se. They ended up clipping that inside wall, and the car in front of him did, and he kind of bounced off of him, which slowed him down and made there a gap. And the gap wasn't necessarily helped because he got surrounded by cars that were going to race him, and, well, race him they did. 9th place car overall in the point standing, ain't going to make the feature.
So that we are going to take a quick commercial break here on Race Spot TV and on the iRacing Esports Network and Dirt Vision. Do not go away. We'll see you in 60 seconds.
Did you know your DirtVision.com account gives you free access to our on-demand video library? From the DirtVision.com homepage, click on Demand Video near the top right of the screen. And from there, countless hours of World of Outlaws footage awaits at your fingertips. Watch every lap of the current World of Outlaws Craftsman Sprint Car Series season.
Sheldon Hutton looking for a run. Dives low into turn 3. Slide job! Sheldon Hutton shield to the cushion. Johnson turns it back underneath him, but Sheldon leads lap 23.
Or dive into some of the historical options with videos in our Classics section.
He has clear visibility, comes off the 4th turn in the clear, and leads lap number 1.
It's all available free and on demand on DirtVision.com.
Seconds left on the warm-up, and we are going to get ready for 30 laps of action from some of the best here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on Dirt Vision. The countdown will come to a close. Now the cars will get yoinked off the track, and the 20 of the best will start getting gridded up for what's going to be an action-packed night on what seems to be a very racy Volusia Speedway Park. Let's take a look at the starting grid here for the 8th round of the World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series live on the iRacing Esports Network and on Dirt Vision. It's an all VLR front row with Alex Bergeron and Dylan Selman starting on that front row, with Tim Ryan from Altus Esports starting inside of David Heilemann on row number 2. James Edens and Chris Brenner make up row number 3, with Phil Diaz and Robert Kurtstetter on row number 4. AJ Neiman and Howard Weaver will make up row 5, with Ryan Pace and Weston Newell on row number 6. Now we get into your last chance qualifier transferees. Chase Cabre and Austin Selman are going to start on row number 7, with Nick Cooper and Justin Thomas on row number 8. Adam Elby and Britton Roxbury on row 9, with Anthony Lepresto and Rusty Kruger rounding out the 10-car field. So, Cam, we won't see what we saw at Williams Grove. One of the McKinneys absolutely flying from the back of the field, but we do have one of the McKinney's teammates in the 74 of Adam Elby. Maybe he can put in a similar performance.
Well, perhaps, and Adam Elby was doing a great job on that inside line, and as we know, the yellow flags are obviously going to be in effect here, which would mean, at the very least, we are probably going to see it maybe once, maybe twice, and it's all about how you manage those restarts. That it's going to really determine how you really get your track going, and if Adam can perhaps stay to the inside on those restarts and the inside line gets going, he could definitely capitalize and make up some positions for later in the race.
Talking about capitalizing, the 12 car has to capitalize here with so few races left in the championship. He's only 15 points ahead of Tim Ryan. Coming into this, they both won a heat race, so chances are the gap's pretty much the same. So for Alex Bergeron, he needs to try to keep this gap to that number 98 and bring the gap down in the points any way he possibly can. Can Dylan Selman help him out? What about David Heilemann, James Edens, Chris Brenner? Whole bunch of fast and potential names into this top 6. Let's see what they can do as the iRacing safety truck gets ready to let him loose for 30 laps. The 12 of Alex Bergeron in command of the field, and he is going to get on it now. Green flag waves in the feature event at Volusia Speedway Park. We're 2x2 in towards turn 1. Bergeron clear out in front, and there's a couple sliders trying to get thrown in the mid-pack, but we're clean down the back straightaway for the first time.
Yeah, that inside line really want to go to it. Somebody climbing up the wall. Yellow flag is going to come out. That is going to be Howard Weaver. The 07 car has decided to park it upside the wall there, and he had some help, Randy, from the car of Ryan Pace.
Little bit of contact. It wasn't a hard hit, but just wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately. Howard Weaver, slight wheel-to-wheel contact. Unfortunately, catches who at one point, Cam, was one of the most competitive and consistent names in the championship this season. Unfortunately for Howard, you know, we saw that streak of races for about the first 7 or 8 weeks of this in the late model series where he was just constantly in the top 6, top 7 every single week. At least in the sprint cars, ever since that's happened, he's just had a nightmare of a season week on week.
Well, I mean, Howard even in one of those interviews was like, I don't know how I'm doing so good. And, well, it appears that has caught up to him. And, I mean, I would almost just not want to make the feature if that's what's going to happen if I don't even make it past lap 2. I mean, just a barely touched wheels, and you know, you're going into a corner at top speed. Unfortunately, there's a wall there. He decided to climb the billboard. But either way, I will say Tim Ryan's now going to be starting on the outside of Alex Bergeron. That's going to be pretty interesting. And for Dylan Semmelman, he tried to lead Bergeron just a bit, but really, unfortunately, that kind of came out to his detriment.
Definitely did just a little bit. Weaver has stayed out there on the racetrack despite the damage on that car, so maybe can make something of this. However, important note is that the 98 of Tim Ryan has slotted into the second spot. Bergeron is not going to like that. 1, for the points, and 2, he's got his all-time rival in the sprint cars starting on the outside of him. He's got 2 teammates behind, though, and let's see what can happen. If the bottom worked for Ryan on the initial start, maybe Selman can get that second spot back. Bergeron going to pick up the throttle late down the back straightaway. Dylan Selman is going to be very close here, side by side with Tim Ryan in towards 1 and 2. Will take that second spot away. Ryan tries to get the momentum back down on the bottom, going to nose out into second, and he's going to make an attempt for the race lead. Wheel to wheel with the 12 of Bergeron, not quite able to get the job done as we have cars fanned out up top and cars fanned out down low. The 98 of Tim Ryan makes a fantastic restart, getting around Dylan. Bit of contact, and the 12 goes around. Alex Bergeron, who needed a good event, ends up on his lid, and that is likely night done for him after wheel-to-wheel contact with his championship rival of Tim Ryan.
Yeah, and I think perhaps both of them were going for the same space, kind of a race and incident sort of deal there. I was going to say at the start there, unfortunately for Bergeron, he kind of went, that triggered the green, but then he kind of backed.
I think you're right, Cam. It's a little bit awkward with what happened here, but as I see it, Tim knew that Alex was going to be out there on him the entire time. I think Tim kind of drove up into the outside of that 12 car, and really he kind of doored Alex the same way we saw what happened to Cam Dance earlier in one of those heat races. Couple cars coming down pit road after that one. The 3 of Dylan Selman gets involved. He comes down pit road. So the 12 of Tim Ryan stays out in front. Chris Brenner has been given a gift. He's gone from 6th up to 2nd. David Heileman is still trotting around in the 3rd spot. A handful of movers already in this race. Robert Kurtstetter up 4. Ryan Pace up 6. So all this drama helping some, killing others. So field works their way through here at Volusia. Tim Ryan given the race lead here and maybe a huge advantage in the points. It'll be interesting to see, though, how race control post-race views that incident, because that was definitely pretty questionable on that one.
I mean, for me, it was just they got their wheels tangled together, and unfortunately it sputtered Alex out into a spin. I'm surprised it didn't really do much to Tim Ryan. I will say Dylan Semmelman's retirement is also pretty notable as well. He started 2nd, and he had to come on down into pit lane because he took such a massive bite out of Bergeron that, I mean, really came out to hurt his day too.
You're definitely right with that one, as Tim Ryan is going to lead them to green here. Gonna pick up the throttle. Brenner tries to predict it, doesn't time it just right. Heilman does a better job, and he's gonna be side by side with Brenner in towards 1 and 2. He's gonna take that second spot away. Robert Kurtstetter, he wants third as Brenner has to get out of it. Kurtstetter has to check up as well as they all scream through 3 and 4. A bit of hard racing in the back as well. The 4 machine of Chase Cabre gets a little bit loose, has to lift out of it. Who is that as well? I believe that might be AJ Neiman, who has to lift out of it as well. The TTL driver, as the mid-pack is insane right now.
Yeah, every single aspect of this racetrack is getting used. Top, middle, and high and low is just all getting used. Tim Ryan's trying to run that inside line. Same thing with Heilman. There are 2 cars making contact. One goes into the wall. Justin Thomas decides to go over for a flip. We do not get, I don't think we've had 3 green flag laps in a row, Randy.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're really struggling here to keep the green laps flowing. Big incident here. Once again, Chase Cabre involved, a couple others as well. I think that was Justin Thomas who ended up on his lid. Indeed, it was. So he goes upside down. Chase Cabre gets involved. Still trying to see what exactly sort of triggered this. The 44 and the 4, yeah.
He's running that inside. He kind of just did the same thing that happened before. That big old rim of his decided to shoot the number 4 up top. Unfortunately, Edens and everyone else just getting involved.
I think that's as well equally on the 4 cam, because seeing the replay, I mean, he had a car low. He should have known he had a car low, and Chase just flat out just kind of, he just drove down there where he knew a car was.
Yeah, and I mean, for Ryan Pace, I'm not sure really how much, I mean, you don't kiss the inside pit wall going down the straight. You kiss the inside wall after you've slowed down and hit your apex and won. So I guess, yeah, but for Ryan Pace, I mean, unfortunately, he's been involved in this much action, I have to say, and I do want to wonder, where has Adam Albee gone? We've seen so much chaos. Well, not much. He's only moved up to 13th.
He's only up 4. The thing is, though, is that a lot of the trouble has kind of happened out in front of him. Really, a lot of these incidents, Cam, have ended up blocking the track. So when that happens, if you're in the back of the field, you can't just power through it and go for where a gap might be. You kind of just have to stop, and when that happens, you don't tend to pick up any spots.
Now, you can't daze a thunder it. That's not how that works, I would hope, anyways.
Well, you can. You definitely can. We've seen that happen in the past. But with that said, you cannot hit the pace car, though. That is actually impossible on the sim. But with that said, iRacing safety truck getting ready to come back down to pit road. Tim Ryan and David Heilman in command of the field out in front. Brenner to P3. P3 is tended to pick up that second spot on the restarts all night. Tim Ryan gets on it. Brenner, not a good restart. He will not immediately jump into that second spot as Heilman will hold on to it. People fanning out 2 and 3 wide through 1 and 2 for the first time now, working lap 16 of 30. 44 Ryan Pace side by side with the 17 of AJ Neiman. You also have involved in that fight. Who is that? Oh, Ryan Pace. Someone has to check up down the front straightaway. I think found the outside wall. But we stay green on down the back straightaway.
Yeah, and I think Chris Brenner there, who started in third, he did not really want to challenge that because he wanted to get to that outside line. He wanted to be comfortable on the outside. He managed to do that going into 1 and 2. Now he's going to try the inside here on David Heilman, so we got a good fight for position number 2. But don't forget, Tim Ryan, he is constantly, he's slowing that number 98 Altus machine in the middle of the corners. It's giving him a good exit, but that's allowing Heilman and the rest to fight for him on the outside, and perhaps they could slingshot past him.
Heilman trying the top 90 to Tim Ryan, loving the throttle control down low. Finds the outside wall, though. That's going to upset him through 1 and 2. Heilman had the potential here to bring that gap down, but makes a bit of a mistake on the exit. Can't keep the speed up. Through 3 and 4, the 5 machine is going to try to keep it down there once again. Chris Brenner hooks up the top side, and he just drives right around the 5 machine. David Heilman on the exit of turn 4 takes that second spot away. Another fight that's happening is shortly behind. Robert Kurtstetter and AJ Neiman have been wheel to wheel for 5th for a couple of times, but they've since spread out as Tim Ryan sees that 70 growing in his rearview mirror. Heilman finds the outside wall on the exit of, on the entry into corner number 1, as people are trying all sorts of lines, Cam, trying to find any sort of traction and any sort of speed.
If Heilman didn't have Brenner around, he most certainly could have caught up to Tim Ryan, and if Chris Brenner didn't have David Heilman around, he most certainly could have. But now that they've got themselves all sorted out, now they can work on their lap times here, and unfortunately for both of them, Tim Ryan's doing fantastic laps, and you know what, as he pops that outside wall again, but so does Brenner. I think we're seeing that a lot now. There's a rut that kind of throws your car on the entry of one into that outside wall. As Tim Ryan is just trying to dance it inside, and look at the distances, Randy, between the inside line and the outside line. Yellow on the track.
Yellow on the track, and this actually might end it. Nick Cooper is the car involved. Have to get a replay here to see exactly what happened, as we see it now on the race spot replay. And the 18 car, I think you're right, just a bit of trouble there as they came off of corner number 2. Seeing in towards turn 3. Once again, it just seems people just spatially unaware. The 18 car just sort of drove up into him.
I almost want to think that the spotter, that maybe Austin thought that the spotter was calling the 421 of Britton Roxbury. So when the spotter called clear for that, he decided to go on up, follow behind Britton. He didn't even know that Nick was there, because that's what that looks like to me, at least.
Well, but at the same time, though, Austin has publicly bragged on several occasions he doesn't run with a mirror, so I assume he doesn't run with a spotter either. You know, and I don't know, that was, there was a gap there for a moment, but unfortunately the 18 ends up shutting the door. We should get a restart here, Cam. It's going to last a couple laps. The way these hole shots have gone, Tim Ryan should be relatively safe for the win. The big question is, can that third place runner of Heilman get a good start and steal second away from Brenner?
And for me, is Robert Kerstetter going to be good on that outside? If he can get a good slingshot, as Tim Ryan is getting absolutely crowded by Chris Brenner right now, almost on the run to the start, not a happy camper or something, I'm not sure.
Yeah, not exactly sure what's going on here. Things are getting a little bit silly as the lights are still on the iRacing.
Crisscrossing my fingers at them.
Field is formed up. I'm not sure why. The lights are still on the iRacing safety truck. They go out now, so now they should technically be formed up after that little bit of contact. Maybe messing around. Hopefully it's all friendly, but silly nonetheless, because it doesn't take much to break these cars at times. But we're going to have a restart coming to 2 to go. The caution flies on the opening lap here. It will end the race. If we get that first lap complete, they will race for it to the green. So this, somehow, some way, will end this race down the back straightaway under yellow for hopefully the final time, and hopefully we can string a mile of clean racing together. iRacing safety truck about to put Tim Ryan in command of the field. He gets on and he absolutely leaps away from the field. This should be all but over for him. 70 of Chris Brenner finds the outside wall. Heilman gets a run down on the bottom but does not get the exit he needs, so the fight for second will go to the 70 of Chris Brenner for now. Through 3 and 4 for the penultimate time, and we will get to the white flag for the 98 of Tim Ryan with 10 car lengths over the 70 of Chris Brenner. Can Chris find anything as Heilman is fighting for that third spot with the 27 of Robert Kurtzetter in towards 3 and 4 for the final time. 98 down low. Tim Ryan's going to win it, and Brenner will hold on to the second as they get to the stripe.
Yeah, and somebody managing to absolutely cake the outside wall. That was Heilman there, but I think that was after everyone crossed the line, so no worries there. But yeah, I mean, you just take a look at that restart. Tim Ryan wasted no time at all on that. No malarkey, no nothing. And honestly, if I was starting second or third, I would have probably called that. I mean, that leader's going to go. But for Tim Ryan, hey, you know what? He's kind of led the most laps. He's the one that was in control. Good to see him take the victory.
Drama-filled race here at Volusia, which I think may have been what a lot of us expected. But at the end of it all, it's the 98 of Tim Ryan from Altus Esports, who had a fantastic weekend, podium in the iRacing 24 Hours of Le Mans, and a win on the Monday in the 8th round of the World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series. Chris Brenner ends up P2, with David Heilman in 3rd, Robert Kerstetter 4th, and Adam Elby rounding out the top 5. Weston Newell and AJ Neben in 6th and 7th, Ryan Pace in 8th, Austin Semmelman 9th, and Phil Diaz, who looked to have a very quick car, ends up in P number 10. Rusty Kruger in 11th, James Edens 12th, Howard Weaver somehow holds on to 13th after his opening lap issues, Britton Roxbury in 14th, Nick Cooper 15th, Anthony Lepresto in 16th, Justin Thomas 17th, Chase Cabre in 18th, Dylan Selman in 19th, and Alex Bergeron. Might be disaster for him at this late in the game for the championship. His championship rival wins, and Alex comes home dead last. We're going to take a quick break here on RaceSpot TV, streaming live on the iRacing Esports Network and on Dirt Vision. Do not go away. We will be back in just a couple of moments.
Courage at the mile. What part did courage play in this victory?
Kinzer going into the corner, trying to get by Del Waxo, makes contact.
Hell of a lot, I'll tell you that right there.
So many times, everybody had lost track. Look at how it shot up on the center track.
Tell you what, there was some close races at a high speed.
The World of Outlaws create memories for fans every night. Now share your favorite Outlaw moment on social media. Whether it was 1978, 1998, or 2018, we want to know, what's your Outlaw moment? Did you sneak into a victory lane picture? Get whiplash driving past a parking lot full of crews at work? Or maybe you simply got to meet your favorite driver in the pits after the races. Tweet it, Instagram it, just use the hashtag #MyOutlawMoment. You might even hear Voice of the Outlaws Johnny Gibson share your memory at the track. Don't delay, start posting today. Let us know with My Outlaw Moment.
Welcome to the post-race show for the 8th round of the World of Outlaw Craftsman Sprint Car Championship Series here on the iRacing Esport Network and on Dirt Vision. Post-race coverage mostly consisting of driver interviews, and let's take a talk to the driver who came home with the win, number 98 of Tim Ryan, who continues his reign of dominance really in the season thus far. Tim, really one pivotal moment of the race for you, that incident with the 12 car of Alex Bergeron pretty much gifted you the win. No one else was even close for the most part. No one really got a long enough green flag run, even if they were close. What's your take on the incident with Alex?
Yeah, I'd just like to apologise to Alex. That was a bit of an unfortunate incident. Just coming out of 2 there with the sideboard, and I don't have VR. I didn't even know he was there. I thought he was right up against the fence. So yeah, apologise to Alex for that one.
Now, with Alex coming home as bad in the championship as he did, I mean, this is going to drop you in a very favorable spot here, because he was 15 points behind coming into this. So with you ended up taking home the win here and him basically ending up dead last, he's pretty much going to be in a situation he's probably going to be 30 to 40 points back. Think you can hold on for the last 4 rounds of the championship knowing you have all the momentum in the world?
It's probably not worth talking about points now, as you can see it can change in a flick second. That could happen to me next week, and yeah, it's just hard with how close the racing is at the moment. So yeah, we'll see how it ends at the end of the season.
Well, thanks for joining us, Tim. Congratulations on the big win. You are definitely the dominant force all night. Before we let you go, who gets it done for that Altus Esports machine, who had a fantastic weekend?
I'd just like to thank everyone at Altus Esports, our sponsors, Motum Simulations. Yeah, great race to Chris Brenner and David as well. Well done on the podium. Thanks, boys, for broadcasting as well.
You're more than welcome. There he is, Tim Ryan. Comes home away with the win, up 2 spots from 3rd to 1st. And if you are OCD, you're going to like these numbers. 3rd to 1st for Tim and 6th to 2nd for Chris Brenner. Nice and equally double up there. It's Cam Walsh who stood by with the driver, the number 70.
And I've got Chris Brenner, the Ohio driver here. The number 70 comes home in 2nd position. After starting in 6th, Chris, it seemed that the track decided to really evolve over the course of this race. It was the outside, it was the inside, then towards the end there after those restarts, the track just completely opened up. How'd your day go?
Well, it went fantastic. I didn't have my normal decent qualifying finish there. I think I started or qualified like 10th or something like that. But I got lucky in the heat race with I believe that was Weston, and I don't remember who else it was, got into it coming out of 4. So I got an easy 2nd place finish out of that one. And, of course, Alex and Tim, I think, got into it in that feature there, which got me up front. So luck was on my side for sure. Track was great. You saw a lot of different lines coming into play, and I somehow made kind of a weird middle line work through 3 and 4 and got by David at the end there, and took it to Tim a little bit before that caution came out.
Yeah, and that outside seemed to work fairly all right, but I mean, Tim he seemed super comfortable on that inside there. I mean, were you hoping to maybe slingshot past him there? Perhaps you could have picked up that feature? Do you think you had enough speed to catch that Altus car?
Yeah, for sure. I think I did. Once I got past David, I got to see where I was at compared to Tim. I started closing in on him pretty good, using that middle line 3 and 4, and just getting ready to try and set him up for something. And that last caution came out, and he got a good restart, and that was game over after that.
Well, either way, I mean, fantastic finish, P2 in a World Championship Series race. That is not bad at all. Final question, we're going to Lima Land. You're going to be excited about it?
Lima Land's scary. It's another hit or miss track where you need some luck on your side to finish good there. You know how it goes there. It's not the same as late models getting 50 green flag laps in there.
You never know. You never know. You can see the dice can roll your way. Either way, Chris, you'd like to thank before we let you go.
Thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for putting this broadcast on Race Spot. You guys are awesome. Thanks for iRacing putting on this Pro Series and making this such a big thing. Thank you, my teammates, UW Motorsports, sponsors Wicked Cushion, Next Gen Fab, Colby's Eye Paints, and Ultimate Dirt TV. Thanks for all your support, guys.
Well, there you go. That's Chris Brenner, the Ohio driver, coming in second position. And Randy, we'll hand it back over to you.
Yep, last interviewee of the evening. Third place finisher David Hyland with a very nice picture for the interview, by the way. A whole bunch of oversteer in that machine. But David, VLR and yourself, you all started up around the front. You had Austin up there, you had Dylan up there, you had Alex up there. And everyone fell but flies but you. What happened to Team VLR tonight?
Yeah, not too sure. I think they got caught up in Rex or netcode or what happened. I was just focused out front.
And well, next week in 2 weeks' time, we're going to one of, I know what is your favorite tracks at Lima Land, Quarter Mile Racetrack. We saw a fantastic race in the late models. Back in the old Dirt Night days, we saw you put on a show in the USAC 360 Sprint Car non-winged and make a fantastic last lap pass for the win. Do these winged cars run anything like that on the little bull ring, or is it a much different beast here with the wing up top?
No, they run. They kind of run. There's yes and no, but there's been so many updates, and I haven't really had a proper race at Lima Land where the track got really worn in the 410 sprints. So it'll be definitely interesting for sure.
Thanks for joining us, David, and congrats on the big victory. Who gets it done for you at VLR?
Oh, I won? Sweet! I freaking won.
Well, as the way you've been running at third place, might as well be a win.
Yeah,
you won in the VLR race. In the race between the VLR guys, you're the champ this week.
Yeah, third place feels like a win again in the series. Just racking up top fives. Thanks to guys at Team VLR. Thank Deck 3 Defense with Tyler Burrow and Down Under Graphics with Joe Berkeley. We'll get one of them one of these days.
There he was, third place finisher and evidently winner, if you're going to believe anything I have to say. David Heileman going to be checking out for the evening. Thanks for joining us, David, and good luck next in 2 weeks' time. But Cam, Lima Land up next on the schedule. I mean, that is, if Volusia has a history of questionable races in the sprint cars, that little quarter-mile bull ring, we've seen good shows in the late models there. The two races in the late models have been fantastic, but these guys in the sprint cars, the way they race one another, as sensitive as the sprint cars have been to contact, we might be in for another 15 laps of caution show.
I mean, we constantly look at the late models and go, oh, fantastic race. The thing is, they've been doing fantastic races all season long. And I'm not trying to say, we've had anything terrible here, but, a couple of unfortunate incidents kind of brought out a couple of cautions. Cautions breed cautions. The track raced wonderfully. I'm hoping that we can carry that over to Lima Land and the track will race wonderfully there too. But you never know, and obviously, once those yellow flags start flying, it's kind of a no-holds-barred barroom fight to try to muscle your way up front.
Definitely is the way it goes, and that is going to end up doing it for us here on RaceSpot TV, on the iRacing Esports Network, and on Dirt Vision. If you have not yet subscribed to the iRacing Esports Network, you need to do so right now, because it is a very busy weekend for us. Tomorrow night, same time, same place, pretty much, the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. It's deeper and deeper to the playoff section for them as they take on Texas Speedway. Wednesday night, we have the first round of the playoffs for the eNASCAR Ignite Series, pushing the youth movement in NASCAR even more, and doing so from the esports side of things. And then this weekend, we have the World Championship Grand Prix Series 10th round from the road course at Indianapolis. And on Sunday, the McLaren Shadow Series kicks off from Spa. Lot of big races this weekend. Be sure to tune in. Going to be a lot of action all the way through the week. And of course, you can't forget the events coming from the likes of VH Online and LSR TV as well. But that's going to do it for us this evening. Huge thanks to you all for tuning in and making us a part of your Monday night. Huge thanks to the people who get this done alongside me of Cam Walsh and Hugo Louis, Andy Werner for all the overlay work he does, Simon Grossman for the overlays as well, working the behind the scenes, the actual programming of it, and Nick Tisson for the live timing. Until next time, we will see you then. Bye-bye.